Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Prince Harry could find himself in a little bit of bother. There is a court case in London that he's currently trying to, win. From the things he said, I'm not going to go too much in the court case here, but it's all to do with phone tapping and things. But from the things he said, it sounds very much like he's not going to be winning this case. So it's going to prove very expensive for him. And then he'll be left with a big bill. That's a separate story. We'll probably just touch on it, but I'm not going to go too deep into it. But the other problem he has is there's another court case going on, and it's in America, and it's regarding his visa. Now, he said certain things within his book, and funnily enough, things that have come out in this court case in the last couple of days in Britain. And if these things have been mentioned on his visa, then he should be okay, because if he's mentioned it and he was still given the visa and allowed in, that's fine. But if these things have not been declared on his visa, and now he's declared them publicly and in his book and in this court case, then it only takes a very zealous border guard, or sitting at the airport when Harry flies back to the States, and he can get a rejected stamp in his passport, and he'll have to come home. He won't be allowed in. And even if he is allowed in, and then they publish his visa, and his visa doesn't mention these things, then there's a challenge, and he could lose his right to stay and remain in the United States with his beloved wife and darling children. Harry May should have really not left the United States just yet. He's got a good chance of not getting back in. Anyway, we'll take a look at this story about the US visa challenge and see where that lays in the sort of bigger picture with regards to the amount of trouble this young man is totally in, even if he doesn't realise it, which he's not likely to because he's not very bright. Anyway, here goes. So, Prince Harry's US visa challenged in court as judge told the answers to these questions should be disclosed. Prince Harry's former use of stuff has threatened to undermine the US government's integrity, according to a think tank bringing legal action against the Department of Homeland Security. And it's all, of course, to do with what the inbred German said on his passport. So a federal judge, not on the passport, on the visa, sorry, but a federal judge has been told that the Duke of Sussex's answers to prior use of various stuff used on his visa application should be disclosed, as they could raise questions over the US government's integrity. Harry's reference to taking Colombian things and leafy things and mind-bendingly mushroomy things in his memoir Spare prompted a conservative Washington DC think tank to question why he was allowed into the US in 2020. Now, of course, it would have been a bit of a diplomatic incident had they not. But of course, he has removed himself from that royal family. He is no longer a working royal. He is now just a private citizen. And so he should be subjected to all the normal rules. The sort of rules that you, or anyone else would be subjected to. You can understand why certain people kind of live in that semi-excluded place where you have diplomatic immunity or your head of state or representative of government. There are certain protocols that allow it, but he is no longer one of them. He is a private citizen now. The Heritage Foundation brought the lawsuit against the Department for Homeland Security after a Freedom of Information Act request was rejected. They were claiming it was immense public interest. I think it most certainly is. Both sides of the pond. Speaking after the first federal court hearing in the case, Dr. Niall Gardner from the think tank told reporters the lawsuit was about holding a high-profile figure and the US government to account. At the end of the day, this is about accountability, transparency and openness, but don't tell the SNP that. It's on behalf of the US administration with regard to an immigration application by a high-profile individual, Dr. Gardner said. And there he is. There is the man who may have done a very bad thing by coming to Britain to lose a court case, and all because he's inadequate. He's going, they're talking about me and I don't like it. They must have found my secrets out. Tears. Good. Don't care. Really don't care. You're a private citizen now. Don't care. During the hearing at the federal court in Washington on Tuesday, the lawyer for the think tank, Samuel Dewey, told a judge their case was about the Duke of Sussex, but also about the DHS's compliance with the law. Mr. Dewey told the judge, Carl Nichols, that the matter had received widespread and exceptional media attention, which had prompted questions about government integrity. The DHS's lawyer, John Bardo, argued that the articles put forward by the think tank in support of their lawsuit were not from the mainstream media. No, they were. They were from all over the mainstream media in Britain. One of Britain's biggest selling broadsheets, The Telegraph, a very highly respected publication. This was asking. It wasn't some website, it wasn't some rando website. It was a world leading publication. It was the Daily Mail, which publishes in America, in Australia. It's a worldwide organisation. These people were asking, and he's saying there were some kind of niche publications. They're massive publications. After the hearing, Dr. Garden said the Duke had become a household name in the US, adding he is actively engaged on a number of causes, has done multiple high-profile interviews. He has taken part in a Netflix documentary that's being watched by tens of millions of Americans. So he is a big figure. And an ever so slightly balding one. And there they are, the unhappy couple. The most fake thing. They're together for the money. That's it. They just... I think they're done in terms of their relationship. He's sleeping in a hotel. She's remaining in her big mansion in Monty Shit Show. So, they're well away apart. They're an ocean apart at the moment. And I think he would be quite relieved, actually, if that border guard refused him entry. What do you think? Anyway, addressing why the think tank has brought the case, he told reporters this is really ultimately about US immigration law. It's ensuring that it is applied fairly and equally to everybody. Just because you've got a title like Duke in America means nothing. It means a lot over here, of course, but nothing over there. No one should be above the law and no one should receive preferential treatment. And in light of Prince Harry's extensive illegal use of products that we know about, we believe he should be held to account with regard to his application. He put it all out there. Let's see whether that exactly matches what he put on his immigration application. And if it doesn't, then he's lied. He's a proven liar. And he needs to lose his right to live in America. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see him come home. And I'd like to see those two absolutely split. And it would be the fallout would be massive. Because it would improve his... I think it would improve his mental health. If he got away from her, came home, his family would take him back. He'd just be the silly arse of the family. And, he'd live a quiet life. And he'd be a lot happier. I think he'd be a lot happier out of the limelight. And not having to be the lapdog to his yacht girl that basically got his cojones in a jar at her home. Poor Harry. Not really. I mean, he makes his decisions. He made his bed and he lies in it, but there he is. I think he should just give it up for a bad job, come home and just live the quiet life. But that's just me. Anyway, I shall round off, come up, and we shall finish this video. Yeah, so a couple of torrid court cases then for Harry. One, he's going to lose the one in London. And if this other one goes the wrong way, he could stand to lose just about everything. It must be fun being that sort of person. It's very hard, of course, to go through life when you are pretty thick and don't realise the consequences of the things you do. I think he's also taken some very bad legal advice. This court case in London, where he's admitting this and admitting that, and he's sitting there and he's going, "Oh well, it might have come from somebody else." Well, the moment he said that one piece of information might have come from someone else, he's admitted this. That means that all of the rest of the information might have come from someone else, and that just undermines his whole defence on it could only have come from the phone hacking. So they're off the hook. They must be their lawyers must be sitting there going, "Yep, okay, money but nothing now." That's ridiculous, isn't it? Whoever's giving him advice needs to stop, really. And I don't just mean legal, I mean life advice as well. Don't marry her, seriously. Never mind. He's an idiot, but I think he will give it up. I think he'll come home eventually, and we'll all just laugh at him for a while, and then he'll just disappear. And then in about 20 years' time, he'll be back on the balcony, watching his brother become king, and going, "Oh, yes, well, I'm standing here, wave hand slyly, false sense of familyhoodness, you know what I mean? familiarity. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you've seen here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, look after your family, they're the only one you got, and goodbye.